Hey guys, coming out for the series premiere of Lucifer, and of course, this doesn't come out technically till 9 o'clock tonight, but this pilot has been out since like August, because if you guys remember, there were like 4 pilots from Comic-Con that got leaked online, and this was one of them, but I wanted to wait till now because I didn't want to watch it like back in September, and then like having to remember everything that happened when the show had its second episode. I just didn't want to do that. And plus, I didn't really know if I was going to watch this show. However, I will honestly say that Comic-Con is what drew me to this show. I mean, just the way they described it definitely made me very interested in seeing if this was any good. I definitely wanted to take a peek and see if this was good. And for the most part, I really did enjoy the series premiere. I don't think this is a perfect show, and there are definitely some things that I am a bit worried about when it comes to how the show moves forward, but let's just get into it because I do want to talk about everything that happened this episode, the stuff I liked, the stuff I didn't like. Um, we get a very quick recap of basically that in the beginning, the angel Lucifer was cast out of heaven and condemned to rule hell for all eternity until he decided to take a vacation. And we then see that he's now speeding down the road when a police officer pulls him over, and Lucifer says that he understood why the policeman pulled him over because he used to like to punish people too, and the man cheerfully offers the officer a bribe, and when the officer refuses it, Lucifer stares at him, and the officer admits that he likes to turn on his siren and speed, and right away you can tell that Lucifer can kind of get people to admit their sins, and right away I thought that was really cool. I definitely really like seeing that. The speeder says that people like to tell him about their deepest desires and tells the officers to take the money because he deserves it. The officer accepts it, and Lucifer drives off. So he then pulls up to his club, Lux, which is a club that he owns, and the valet takes his keys, and inside Lucifer gets a drink and goes to the bar, and the bartender, Maze, wonders where he's been, and Lucifer Missy, he's been holed up with a woman named Faith, and Maze dismisses the other bartender, Patrick, who has been having oral sex with her, and she then asks Lucifer why he isn't doing something more significant because he's the Lord of Hell, and honestly, yeah, that is a good thing to think about. I mean, the fact that he's supposed to be the Lord of Hell and he's pretty much just partying, yeah, that's not the best thing to do, and, she then, and basically Lucifer insists that he's retired and he has nothing but time, and he's kind of just having fun with himself. That's kind of what he's doing. So we then meet this character of Amenadiel, who I could definitely see this character getting on my nerves. I get his point, but I could definitely see this character getting a bit annoying, I have to tell you guys. And the thing that sucks is that this is like the one big story element of the show, and I'll get into what I mean by that. But we meet this angel, Amenadiel. He comes in and Lucifer goes to greet him. He informs Lucifer that his return to the underworld has been requested, and Lucifer refuses and tells him to remind God that he's tired of running hell, and he's been wondering whether he's evil or God just made him that way. And Amenadiel asks him what he thinks when the devil isn't there to run the place, because, they need the devil in hell, obviously. Lucifer is supposed to be the devil. They need the devil in there, but he's not there. Obviously, things aren't balanced right, and Lucifer doesn't care, and Amenadiel pins him with one of his wings. Amused, Lucifer invites him to try, and Amenadiel warns that God won't be merciful for much longer and leaves. And again, I get his point, but I did find some of this a bit annoying. I definitely will say that, and we'll get into why. But Lucifer then goes outside, and a woman, Delilah, pulls over in her limo, and the people in line take photos of Delilah, who invite Lucifer to get her a drink. And inside, Delilah wonders if she actually sold her soul to the devil, and Lucifer insists that she just introduced her to a few contacts and says that she made all of her choices, particularly the bad ones. Delilah says that she got confused and left her producer, Jimmy Baines, at the altar, and now she's jealous that Jimmy's marrying a supermodel, and we get without a doubt, one of the best scenes of this episode. I love this scene. Lucifer reminds her that she owes him a favor, tells Delilah to pull herself together. As they go for a walk, Delilah says that she's going to do it, and he tells her that what happens now is up to her. An SUV pulls up, the passenger opens fire. As the driver drives off, a bus slams the SUV, crushing it, and Lucifer gets up, sees the wreckage, realizes that Delilah is dead. Literally, she's killed off in this episode, and he goes over to the wrecked SUV, confirms that the shooter's dead. Lucifer then brings him back to life, demands to know why the killer ended Delilah's life, compelled to tell the truth. The shooter says it was for money and that he just pulled the trigger. He dies for good, and Lucifer walks back over to Delilah's body to look at it, and I thought that was a very crazy scene, definitely. The police then secure the area. The officer in charge, Chloe Dancer, comes over. Now, Chloe is a very interesting character because she's kind of your typical police officer in a crime show, but I feel like they did enough with her to make her a bit different and actually show why she's more of a character than she is just a police officer, and I'll get into that. But the officer on the scene, Dan, comes over. Chloe insists that it's her case. Dan agrees and tells her not to waste her time. The shooter is Eddie Deacon, a low-level drug dealer. There are drugs in Delilah's purse, and Dan figures it was a drug-related shooting, and Chloe points out that Eddie's car and watch aren't cheap, and Dan warns that there'll be a lot of attention on the case after Chloe's earlier case on Palmetto Street, and she insists that she asked on the case because of what happened there, and Dan says that there was one witness, and of course that witness was Lucifer. So Chloe goes inside where Lucifer is playing the piano, assumes that Lucifer is his stage name because it would be absurd to think otherwise. Definitely that makes sense. And he says that Delilah used to work there as a singer. He doesn't know the shooter, and when Lucifer says he asked Eddie why he did it before he died, Chloe wonders if he likes to play cop, and he says that Eddie said that he just pulled the trigger, and Chloe figures that it was a drug deal gone bad, and Lucifer figures that there's more to the shooting than that, and it's too convenient. You know, he's convinced that this was deliberate, that this wasn't just a shooting that Delilah got in the middle of. This was definitely deliberate, and Chloe wonders how Lucifer survived, and he admits that he's immortal. He wonders what the LAPD will find the person responsible for, and I like that Chloe asked him that question. Right away, she already knows that he's immortal, and that was something I definitely like because I didn't want this stupid storyline of Lucifer hiding who he really was from Chloe. I think that'd be really dumb, and the fact that he just straight up told her gets away any necessary drama that we need there, so I'm glad that they didn't do that. So Lucifer's sure he's seen Chloe somewhere before, probably naked, insists that they're not done, and Chloe says that they are and walks out, and basically the next day Lucifer goes to Jimmy Barnes' outdoor wedding and interrupts, and I love this scene. This scene was awesome. Really funny stuff. He points out how beautiful the bride is and how ugly the groom is, and reminds Jimmy that they've met. Lucifer points out that his ex-fiancée and former star died the previous night. Jimmy says that he isn't going to let Delilah ruin his relationship twice. He asks if Jimmy wanted Delilah dead, and Jimmy admits that he was furious and humiliated, but he's gotten over it. And the producer suggests that Lucifer play his mind games with the rapper Chu Vile, the guy that Delilah dumped Jimmy for, and impressed, Lucifer then introduced himself to the bride, and he used his power, and the bride admits that she doesn't want sex with Jimmy that night. Everyone's gasping, obviously. I mean, it's your wedding night, you should want that. And Lucifer has the bride admit that she's not marrying Jimmy out of love, and it's clearly just that she's with him for money. Very funny scene. The way that Lucifer is able to get people to admit their sins, though, I definitely really like that. I've never really seen something like that. Like, I've seen people be compelled and things like that, but this is really cool, and I definitely love that Lucifer has the power to do that. I mean, it makes for some very funny scenes, and they definitely did that very well here. So, next, Lucifer drives to Chu Vile's mansion, and the butler says that the rapper is unavailable. And when Lucifer says that he has narcotics for Chu Vile, the butler immediately takes him in. Chu Vile's hosting a party and takes offense when Lucifer says that he doesn't like hip-hop music, and Lucifer says that he hates Chu Vile's music, and Chu Vile's friends draw their guns. And when Lucifer asks about Delilah, Chu Vile casually says that the bitch is dead, and Lucifer then shoves Chu Vile through the balcony window and holds him over the drop. The others start firing, but Chu Vile tells him not to shoot, insists that he didn't kill Delilah because Lucifer is convinced that he did, and he says that he hit Delilah once when he found out that she was cheating on him, but they worked it out. Satisfied that he's telling the truth, Lucifer pulls Chu Vile back up, asks who Delilah had the affair with. The rapper says that she wouldn't say it, but it was some rich married guy, and the only person Delilah might have told his name to was her therapist, Linda, in Beverly Hills. And Lucifer then thanks Tubio for his time and starts to walk out, and just as Chloe arrives and orders everyone to drop their guns, impressed that she listened to him, Lucifer then congratulates Chloe on listening to him, and she explains that Delilah's phone log showed Tubio was the last person that Eddie called, and Chloe wonders how Lucifer made the same connection, and he says that he's busy. Tubio admits that Eddie hooked him up sometimes, and he met Delilah through him, and one of Tubio's friends recognized Chloe, and we start to find out more about Chloe's background, which honestly, very funny stuff here. He recognized Chloe from a movie Hot Tub High School, which yes, that is a porno, and Lucifer remembers it as well. Chloe doesn't want to discuss it. It's clear that she's moved on with her life, but she was an adult film star at one point, and Lucifer assures her that he already threatened Tubio's life and he's not the killer. Tubio points out that it's illegal, and Chloe handcuffs Lucifer, takes him to her car. She points out that he's pissed her off, and Lucifer immediately removes the handcuffs. He wants to punish the person responsible, insisting that it'll be fun because people like to tell him things, and Lucifer explains that he can draw out people's hidden desires, and the more complex they are, the harder it is, and Chloe realizes that Lucifer thinks he's the devil, and she's not sure if he's telling the truth or not, if he actually is the devil, but she knows that he thinks he's the devil, and of course we know he's the devil, but she's not sure, and Lucifer asks her what she desires more than anything else, and Chloe says that when she was a girl, now this I thought was a very interesting thing here, a bit one note, but I definitely thought it was good to actually give Chloe a character, because I've said this many times before, when you're doing a show like this, you know, when you're doing a show that's like Case of the Week, which I'm pretty sure that's what this is going to be, just the way this was set up definitely seems like it's going to be a Case of the Week type of show. It's very hard nowadays to make it original. I mean, that's why shows like Rosewood don't really do as well. And yes, Rosewood, I know, got a second season, I believe, for whatever reason. Nobody's watching it, but that is a show that I heard is the most basic cop show you could think of. And it is very rare nowadays to do that kind of show, you know, police procedural, and do it, make it original. But I feel like this show, they did it pretty well because they actually gave Chloe a character. She's not just some stern FBI agent that takes everything seriously. She actually has a past, and I definitely like that. She says that when she was a girl, she wanted to be a cop, so she'd be taken seriously. Tells Lucifer to shut up and get in the car. Surprised that his power didn't work, Lucifer says that he knows something she doesn't, but he won't say unless she takes him with her. And Chloe wonders why he cares so much, and Lucifer admits that he feels guilty for meddling with her career. You know, he feels really bad that he got involved, and the detective reluctantly gives in, and right away you can tell that these two, they're gonna solve missions together. But the way that Lucifer does it, I definitely like, because this isn't just going after some drug dealer. This is Lucifer really getting into their head and trying to find their sins and get them to admit those sins, and that's something that definitely very much interests me as to what could happen there. So as they drive back into LA, Chloe starts running a trace for a therapist first named Linda. They don't know her last name. Lucifer wonders why she has such a chip on her shoulder and figures that she struggles to be taken seriously in a man's world, and he tells her to trust herself, and the station calls back to confirm that Linda's last name is Martin, and another call comes in, and Chloe tells Lucifer that her 7-year-old daughter got into a fight, and she has to pick her up. Lucifer complains that they're taking time off from solving Delilah's murder, and Chloe heads for the elementary school. I really do love the banter between these two right off the bat, I will definitely say that. Lucifer lights up a cigarette, notices an attractive woman walking into school, literally just walks in, despite the fact that he hates children, and however, he loses the woman in the halls, sits down to wait. A girl's sitting there and tells Lucifer not to smoke, and warns that her mother is a police officer, and they could have easily made this little girl annoying, but I don't know, I didn't find her annoying, and I was surprised. I really thought, oh, we're just gonna have an annoying little girl here, but no, I really actually like this character. And Lucifer realizes that the girl is actually Chloe's daughter, Trixie, who right away he says is a name for a prostitute, which I thought was very funny when she's like, what's a prostitute? He's like, ask your mother. I love that scene. She explains that she got into a fight with another girl who made fun of her. Lucifer congratulates Trixie, goes over to the other girl, tells her that there's a very special section of hell reserved for bullies. His eyes glow red, and the girl freaks out, obviously, because, you know, he's just showing that he's the devil, and just imagine if you came face to face with the devil. I mean, it's one of the most terrifying things to think about, but the fact that this show plays it off as funny is very interesting. So, Chloe then comes out of the office. Lucifer suggests that the bully is feeling guilty. They go out, and Dan comes up. Trixie calls him daddy, and Dan says that he was putting a case to case. And we realize that Dan and Chloe are together, and Chloe tells her ex-husband, he's not her husband now, he's now her ex-husband. And I like that we found that out just from Trixie saying daddy, but I don't know. I feel like this character could get annoying, definitely. Chloe tells her ex-husband that she was putting a case to bed as well. Lucifer suggests that they not argue in front of Trixie. Chloe asks Dan to drop Trixie off at her mother's and tells her she did a good job standing up to the bully. And it's clear that Trixie definitely has problems with Chloe and Dan. They're probably always arguing. And if Lucifer is going to be that one person to maybe help out Trixie and definitely things like that, because I could honestly see Lucifer making a difference in Trixie's life. I mean, it seems like he genuinely cares about her, and definitely that's very interesting. It doesn't really go with the whole thing with him hating children. I don't know what makes Trixie so different, but clearly he cares about her, and I definitely like seeing that. Dan, though, I definitely think is going to be a character that gets annoying. I mean, just all the scenes here, most of the scenes revolve around Dan being a dick, and definitely they need to find out more to do than that, because I don't just want this to be him being a dick, but that's what it seems like it's going to be right now. So as they wait for Linda at her office, Lucifer confirms that Trixie's birth was planned, sort of, and he wonders why Dan was pressuring her to close the case, and Chloe insists that there was no reason. Lucifer tries to compel her to tell the truth, but his powers don't work on her, and this is very interesting. He wonders if God sent her, and Linda then calls them into her office. So the fact that his powers don't work on her, definitely, that's something that also is very interesting. Linda then calls him into her office, stares at Lucifer. He advised her not to have sex with him, warning that it never ends well, and Lucifer's surprised that Chloe doesn't look at him the same way, and she's immune to him. Linda figures that it disturbs Lucifer that Chloe isn't attracted to him, catching him aback, and Chloe asks about Delilah's case. The doctor refused to violate doctor-patient confidentiality, which is obviously that's something that, you can't really reveal. When it comes to doctor-patient, you're not supposed to reveal what they talked about. That's just something that when you're a therapist, you should not reveal certain things. That's just something that's just how it works. So basically, Lucifer turns on his charm. She finally breaks down, says that Delilah was involved with the married actor Gray Cooper, and Lucifer is disappointed at Delilah's poor taste and asks Chloe to wait outside while he has sex with Linda to fulfill his side of the bargain. She says that she does yoga and then admits that she tried to keep it in, and literally most of this is just Linda flirting with Lucifer and trying to have sex with him. Chloe walks out. Lucifer says that he has to take a rain check, promises that he'll be back, and Chloe and Lucifer then go to where Gray's stuntman is filming a car chase for a new movie. Casually steps out in front of the crashing cars, ruining the shoot. Chloe then fails Lucifer in and says that he's with him, and they ask to speak to Gray. Gray comes out. Lucifer asks what his deepest desire is, and Gray says that he wants to be president of the United States after he's done with acting, and Chloe asks if he was having an affair with Delilah, and Gray's wife Amanda arrives, and Chloe notices that Gray is wearing the same one that Eddie was wearing, and he claims that it's a prop, and Amanda says that it was the watch that Delilah gave him as a gift after they wrapped the movie they worked on. Time will tell, and it's about $10,000 watch, and Lucifer and Chloe figure that it meant more than a mere gift. Lucifer then charms Gray into admitting that he was sleeping with Delilah, and Amanda admits that she already knew. She's been sleeping with Gray's bodyguard, Bobby, much to the surprise of the nearby Bobby. Obviously, Bobby did not know this. Gray then punches Bobby. The other crew come over to stop the fight, and honestly, very funny stuff, and I like seeing Lucifer just get people to admit things. I think it's very funny the way they're doing it here. So that night, Chloe and Lucifer go back to Lux. Chloe drinks, tries to work out the case in her head. She wonders why she's there with a man she despises, and Lucifer asks her what she actually wants. And I thought this was a good scene. We find out more about Chloe's character here. Chloe admits that what she said earlier was true, that her father was a cop and she wanted to help people. Her mother was an ex-actress, and Chloe tried to be a film star. Then she quit and became a detective. there was a shooting on Palmetto Street, and Chloe saw it differently. It backfired, and now no one wants to work with her. May's the point, and I like that we found this out, that basically that's why no one wants to work with her, because she didn't get this case right. It didn't work out the way, she saw it differently than everyone else, and because of that, no one else wants to work with her. So definitely, I think this makes Chloe more vulnerable, and I'm honestly interested in finding out more about this character. And if they do, if they do things, if they do her character development like they did in this episode, I honestly could really like Chloe, and I think they definitely are doing a good job of not making her just another cop character. That definitely makes me very interested in what they're gonna do here. So definitely, I thought that was really great. I definitely really love seeing that. Basically, it backfired. Now, no one wants to work with her. Maze then points out a newscast about how Delilah's sales of her album Time Will Tell have peaked since her death. And Chloe tells Lucifer that Delilah didn't give the watch to Eddie. Chloe and Lucifer go to the recording studio where Jimmy's working. They point out that he produced Delilah's album and figures that he engineered the singer's death because he needed the cash. And Jimmy paid off Eddie with the watch that Delilah gave him. Jimmy then draws a gun, holds the technician hostage. Lucifer says he is going to punish Jimmy and advances on the producer. And when Jimmy tries to shoot him, Chloe shoots him. Lucifer's furious that Jimmy got off too easily. When she says that Jimmy's going to hell, Lucifer says that he won't pay there because he's on Earth. And the dying Jimmy manages to get off a shot. Chloe goes down. Lucifer tells her that she's not going to die. Jimmy shoots him in the back. Furious Lucifer excuses himself, walks in the gunfire. He yanks the gun away, and a dazed Chloe watches as Lucifer slams Jimmy into the mirrored window, promises that he'll wish he just killed him. Jimmy stares the reflection, which shows Lucifer in his demonic form, screams in terror, and Chloe passes out. So Chloe pretty much knows that he is in fact the devil, and they didn't really reveal that Chloe knows, but you can tell because obviously she passed out, and Chloe then wakes up in a hospital bed. Lucifer's there, welcomes her back, and when she wonders why he isn't dead, Lucifer reminds her that he's immortal, and he assures Chloe that Jimmy got what he deserved, and Chloe thanks Lucifer for saving her life. Lucifer admits that he saved her life because she's interesting and irritable, and figures that since she's a pariah, they can work together solving crimes. And Trixie comes in, hugs Lucifer, much to his irritation, suggests that she hug Chloe instead. He does not like hugs. That's something we find out right here, that Lucifer does not like hugs. And Dan comes in. Lucifer says that Chloe's one hell of a homicide detective. Dan goes over, tells her that she should have had backup, and Lucifer insists that she did before leaving. Again, I can definitely see this character getting very annoying. Definitely. Dan just seems like one of those characters where if his constant character is, oh, I don't trust you, and you should not be doing this, and things like that, and I don't think you should be on this job, I'm going to get very annoyed his character. I really want them to do more with Dan, but if that's going to be what he does, then I definitely could see him getting very annoying. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So, back in Flux, Lucifer finds Amenadiel waiting on the street. The angel says that he's been watching and isn't sure that he likes how Lucifer is showing restraint and mercy. He warns that there's a balance that they must maintain and tells Lucifer to go back to hell as he advised. And Lucifer tells the angel not to threaten him if he wants a war. And Amenadiel is happy to have a war, and you can definitely see that it's probably going to get very crazy between them. But already we're talking about war in the first episode. I definitely feel that they are rushing this in terms of what Amenadiel wants Lucifer to do. I mean, they definitely are rushing this. And I'm not saying they need to be slow with it, but definitely we're already talking about war in the first episode. So Amenadiel flies off. Lucifer goes inside. Once the bar closes, Maze wonders why he saved a human life, and Lucifer says that there's something different about Chloe that he doesn't understand. And I'm personally thinking that Chloe hasn't committed any wrong acts, and maybe that's why. Maybe there's just nothing to reveal. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he can't read her, because she has nothing bad to reveal. And it vexes him, and basically she suggests that it's Lucifer who's different and tells him to stop caring because he's the devil. And that's the thing. Lucifer is clearly getting emotions, and he's getting attached to Chloe. In fact, he actually cares about her, but Lucifer, I don't really think understands emotions because he's supposed to be the devil. He's not supposed to really have emotions. And that definitely is very interesting. Lucifer gaining emotions, learning, the ideas of, like, love and things like that. And I don't think they're trying to show that, oh, Lucifer and Chloe are going to fall in love. I think that might happen at some point, but right now, at least, I think they're trying to show that Lucifer actually cares about this woman, and he really hasn't before. So Lucifer considers Maze's advice, then goes back to Linda. Now, Maze is a character that is extremely underdeveloped, and I definitely feel there's going to be more going on with her, but I want to find out more. There's clearly something going on with Maze, and I just want to find out more about her because this is a character that could be doing a lot more. She's supposed to be Lucifer's confidant, if I'm correct. I believe that's what it says, that she's supposed to be Lucifer's like right hand woman. So I definitely want to find out more about her. I definitely mentioned her character. They just need to do a little bit more with her because I'm not loving her character just yet. So he then goes back to Linda, says that they can have as much sex as they want, but she's going to have to be his therapist while he deals with his existential dilemmas. And I don't know if maybe Linda's going to be a therapist for Lucifer, but that's how this episode ends. And I have to say, really solid premiere. I definitely really enjoyed this first episode overall. Definitely there are some things that I don't love. Let's get to the acting first, because one of the things I think that really makes this stands out is the acting. Tom Ellis, let me just say right off the bat, is perfect as Lucifer. He has this character down perfectly. I mean, the big thing here that attracted me to Comic-Con is what Tom Ellis said. That one, the big point of the show is to show that Lucifer, the devil, could have some good in him. And that definitely makes me very interested in seeing where they're going to go with that. If he does have some good in him, if he is going to get actual emotions, and if he is possibly getting attached to Chloe. I mean, there's a reason why he can't read her and she can't get her to admit any sins. Maybe she hasn't committed anything, but there definitely is a reason. And the way that he can possess people, not possess people, but get them to admit their sins is definitely very interesting. But let's just talk about like how much charisma he has. I mean, he's so funny in this role. There's so much rapid fire dialogue with his character. This is someone who will flat out tell you how they feel about something and they're not going to care, and that's something I loved about his character. And I definitely feel that out of everything, he definitely is probably the best thing about the show. I definitely feel that if Tom Ellis had not been as great as he was, this would have completely failed because this is not your typical Lucifer. This Lucifer is a bachelor. He is very charismatic, and I think he just does a great job in this role. Lauren German is a little flat as Chloe. I definitely will say that. The actress playing her is definitely flat. I like her character overall, but anyone could really play her role. I definitely will say that. So far, at least, anyone could play her, but they do think they've done a good job with trying to separate Chloe and actually giving her a character, making her this adult film, ex-adult film star, now a cop. She wants to be taken more seriously, but most of the cops don't take her seriously, and I definitely am looking forward to that. I think she's doing a very good job. I'll talk about who's not good. D.B. Woodside as Amenadiel. He's not good, okay? I don't know what it is, but he's very wooden. And I understand that he's supposed to be a god, but to me at least, he's very wooden. I don't really think this is a great actor. I honestly feel we should have gotten a different actor to play him. And something I do like is that all the actors here are unknowns. There isn't any well-known actor in this cast. Well, Tom Ellis is a well-known British actor, but this is his first American role, I believe. And I think he could do a good job, but right now, D.B. Woodside is really not doing it for me. And if he's going to be the main antagonist of the show, I definitely am not a fan of him yet because I don't really feel like he's that great. And that's one of the reasons it's not really working as well as it should have, because I don't think he's great. Same with Leslie Ann Brandt. Definitely, I want them to do more of their character because I feel pretty much nothing about her character right now, and I want to feel something, but I don't yet. Kevin Alejandro as Dan, like I said, I think he's going to be very, very annoying. I mean, just the way that this is going, it seems, right now at least, that this is going to be that he, just doesn't trust Chloe and things like that, and I'm definitely not a fan of that. They definitely need to find a way to make his character more interesting. I hope they do, because definitely they can. Rachel Harris is Linda. Apparently Linda's the main character, which I definitely am looking forward to what's going to happen with that. I definitely feel like she could end up being like a Bedelia sort of character, kind of like in Hannibal, how Hannibal had Bedelia. Maybe she'll be like Bedelia, but obviously this is not going to be as dark as Hannibal because the show is clearly going to be a lot of fun. I definitely do like that. And then Scarlett Estevez is Trixie. Like I said, surprisingly not annoying. I thought she was I thought she was a good, little girl. I didn't think that she was annoying. And I don't know if Lucifer generally cares about her, but she seems to see him as a friend, and definitely it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. The script to the show, I really do like. Yes, this is going to be a procedural show, but I definitely feel that it has potential to kind of be its own thing. One of the reasons Limitless has worked so well is because there's really nothing on TV like it, and Lucifer, it's the same way. I've really never seen anything quite like Lucifer before, and it's clear that they're trying to change up the procedural elements of things. And yeah, Minority Report, they tried that, didn't really work, but that show really didn't have any great actors, and it really didn't have, I think, as good as writing as this show does. The writing here is really great. The effects, okay, maybe they're not the best. I definitely will say that they definitely can improve on the effects a little bit, but overall, guys, I really did enjoy this first episode. This is based on a comic, by the way, by Neil Gaiman, in case you guys didn't know that. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys saw this first episode. Love to hear your thoughts on it. It's definitely, I would recommend you check it out tonight at 9 o'clock after X-Files. And I will, do you think this show will last? I honestly, I do hope this show will last. But I will see you guys in my next video, which will actually be for tonight's episode of X-Files. And I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.